Good morning, friends, and welcome to the September 5th edition of Weekly Witness, Texas Impact's weekly opportunity for Texans of faith to learn about public policy issues and how they can engage in the policy process here in the great state of Texas. My name is Scott Atnib, Texas Impact's Outreach Director, and we are here on a special day and time because of the Labor Day holiday and because we have a very special guest this week. We're being joined by Steve Mims, an award-winning commercial director, music video director, and independent filmmaker whose work has screened internationally in festivals, theatrically, and on television. He also serves as a lecturer in the University of Texas Department of Radio, Television, and Film, Hook 'em Horns. Most recently, and the reason Steve is with us today is that his most recent project is titled Run Like the Devil, self-described on the project's website, runlikethedevil2018.com, as documenting the 2018 Senate race between Ted Cruz and Beto O'Rourke. It's a nonpartisan deep dive that goes beyond the political campaign. The film threads the stories of the candidates with those of their respective political parties during a historic period of national political tumult. Participants in the film include O'Rourke, Cruz, Evan Smith, editor of the Texas Tribune, Mark McKinnon, political consultant, David Richards, Ann Richards' ex-husband and redistricting litigator, Bob Moore, former editor of the El Paso Times, and I would add Joshua Houston, Texas Impact's general counsel and director of government affairs, and others. The film premieres tomorrow night if you're listening live on Wednesday in Austin, so Thursday, September 6th, and we'll tour cities across Texas, including an East Texas swing that I plan on attending. And we'll talk at the end of this program about how you and your friends can partner with Texas Impact and the Run Like the Devil team to host a screening in advance of it coming out in wider circulation in October. If you want to ruin that announcement, you can go on and go to texasimpactfilms.org for more information. So, Steve, first of all, thanks for joining us, and did I get all of that right?
Yeah, you got it all right. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, appreciate the time. So, first of all, I kind of read a description from the website, but why or what should people who are listening know about this project?
It is a project that's designed to not be a version of the news. It's designed to have a perspective that's different from that. And our objective was to paint a picture for people of both these guys, their backgrounds, how they were raised, how they became who they are, and then frame that within the context that we live in right now, like how the Democratic and Republican parties became the way they are in Texas, and then today, how this relates to all the big issues that people are concerned about.
You've done a lot of important work over the course of your career. Why did you choose to focus on this race?
Well, in 2012, when Ted Cruz won his Senate seat, he ran against a guy named Paul Sadler. He was a Democratic nominee. And at that time, I was astonished that there wasn't a lot of material out there. Like, I felt that I did not have enough information about Sadler. I felt like I didn't have enough information about Cruz. And at the time, I reached out to people to try to figure out what to do because I wanted to do something about that. And so this time, when I read in the newspaper almost 2 years ago now that Beto O'Rourke was going to run, I was interested in that. And so I went out to El Paso March 31st in 2017 for his announcement. And I've been shooting ever since then, up until a few weeks ago. And so my whole thing is like, I think people deserve a perspective of the two guys in a race that really I don't think was provided the last time.
Did you ever imagine that the race would take off in the way that it has, capturing kind of the attention of the country?
I sort of did. Right, and not to be self-congratulatory, but I really, like, from when I read it and when I went out and met Beto, I thought, like, this is going to be something, and I think that it's really confounded people because the conventional wisdom was like, this is not a race in Texas. This is a red state. It's not going to be a race. And I think that two things have made it a race. One, the first thing is the sheer labor of Beto O'Rourke. Like, you can't deny it. Like, the guy has been all over the state tirelessly. And so we filmed a lot of those events, and like, he's just a hard worker. And so that has changed the dynamic. The other thing is the Trump administration. And that's the wild card that, nobody can calculate. Like, what is the consequence of people living through a period where they're marinated in toxic material every day? And I think that has really changed the nature of the race, and we've got that confirmed now by the polls that indicate that it's virtually tied.
So, Texas Impact has promoted this and encouraged people to watch and consider hosting a screening. What are you hoping that people who watch this film will do with the information or walk away with?
I want them to, my voice cracking, like Jimmy Stewart.
You've had a busy week, I guess.
Yeah. I think that the thing, the minor ambition of the movie is to have people know more about their humanity, about both those guys, and to see how that fits in with what they believe. And that's really one of the fascinating things about the film is a comparison of them, because they're very much the same. They're almost the same age. They both went to Ivy League schools. They both had fathers who were very influential, and they wound up, being raised simultaneously in the same state with totally different views of the role of government and of life in general, their philosophies. Like, that's fascinating. How did that happen? And so the film lays that out very clearly, and I think that's kind of rare to find that in a piece about a race.
So I would encourage people who are watching online, either by webinar or Facebook Live, you can feel free to post questions either in the chat section of the webinar or the comment section of Facebook Live. We'd also encourage you to share this content, use the hashtag #WeeklyWitness when you do. One of the things that Texas Impact has been promoting for weeks, for years actually, but especially in the last couple of weeks, has been this notion that our hope is that the voting electorate would more closely resemble the broadest sense of community as possible. And in the state of Texas, I believe we ranked 47th out of the 50 states and DC in the last in the presidential election, and 51st out of 51 a couple of midterms ago. And so this is one of those times. Is the hope also that people would understand the candidates more and then maybe more fully engage in the process? Or would that be a byproduct of?
Yeah, no, I would hope that people would actually go out and do something.
Yeah, one of the things that we hear a lot is that people don't know the candidates. So our hope is that you'll encourage your friends to watch the film, get to know both candidates, and more fully engage in the process. Where can people get plugged in? Where can they see the film?
All our propaganda is at runlikethedevil2018.com. So if you go there, that has all the information about the film. It has information about all the screenings, and the trailer, a lot of stuff on it.
Right. It is a very good website. I was playing around this morning. So you have a dozen or so screenings in the month of September, and then it comes out in wider circulation in October. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. So make sure to find a screening near you. We'd also encourage you to go to texasimpactfilms.org. If you want a sneak peek of the DVD, you can get more information on how you can do that there. Any other place that folks can find you or more information on your work?
I have my a website, stevemimsfilms.com.
Okay.
That they can look at.
Is there anything else you hope Texans of Faith are thinking about, either watching this documentary or moving towards election season?
Well, I think that people are going to find this fascinating, I believe, in terms of religion, because religion inadvertently is an underlying theme in a lot of the movie. And that's because Ted Cruz's background, his father was an evangelical preacher. And the influence of that is interesting. And then that language carries right over into the issues where people talk about heretics and heresy and all this is like blended right into it, and that's interesting. The whole idea of the separation of church and state, and the whole idea of how we let how people use religion in different ways to influence people in terms of what they do. And I think that's a healthy thing for people to have a moment and consider.
Well, I think you're a visionary in having thought that this movement would take off 2 years ago, and I certainly appreciate you being able to document the last 2 years, and look forward to hopefully seeing many of you out at these screenings and having conversations about this film. I feel like I should ask now, what's next? What's coming in the future?
This thing has almost killed me, actually.
Yeah.
Like it's been a marathon shooting it and editing it, and I'm so happy it's done. And like usually I tell my students, it's like, if you don't hate your own film by the time you're done with it, you probably haven't worked on it enough, because every little edit's an issue. And at one point I did hate it, and then I got to watch it last week, and I loved it. It's like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And so I think it's not too long. It's an hour long, so it won't break people's spirit seeing the whole thing. And I think it does the job.
Well, I will look forward to seeing you in East Texas, and I've got a group who will be screening the movie at our house soon. So, hey, friends in and around Huntsville, hit me up if you're interested. But make sure to check out runlikethedevil2018.com. If you're interested in screening it in advance, check out Texas. I already forgot our website. TexasImpactFilms.org for how you can get that in advance. Steve, thank you so much for your work. I'm really looking forward to sharing this project with a lot of our friends and hearing the feedback that we get. So thanks for taking the time.
Well, thank you for having me
this morning. Friends, thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you keep an eye on Texas Impact social media and the e-news for ways that you can get involved. And remember to share this content via social media. Subscribe to, rate, and review the Weekly Witness podcast via iTunes or your favorite podcast app. And invite your friends to participate in this journey with us. As always, if you need more information or have questions, you can reach out to me directly at scott@texasimpact.org. And remember, if you value the Texas Impact and Weekly Witness community, please consider becoming or renewing your membership and inviting your friends and congregations to do the same online at texasimpact.org/join. Next week, we should be back to our regular schedule, noon on Mondays at First United Methodist Church. Until then, have a great week, and we will see you then. Thanks, friends.
This episode of Weekly Witness was recorded live at the First United Methodist Church of Austin, Texas. Weekly Witness is a production of Texas Impact and the Texas Interfaith Center for Public Policy. Find out more on our website, www.texasimpact.org.